Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today, I'm not really talking about any sports. This is going to be a little bit of sports figures, athletes mixed in to this video. But today, this video is about the Black Lives Matter movement and what is currently going on in the world around us. First of all, I want to say rest in peace to George Floyd. Um, I can't imagine being in that situation of where where he passed, where he was murdered by that police officer and held down by others. Um, I can't imagine being his family and having to go through what they've been going through. So my condolences to them. I've been meaning to make this video for a little bit now, but I've been kind of watching what's been going on around the country and other parts of the world, and I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. So if this is a touchy subject for you, feel free to turn off the video. If not, thanks for sticking around. So I'm trying to piece things together. I'm trying to put it all together. I usually go off a script, so you're gonna have to cut me some slack here, because I'm kind of just coming from the heart at this point. But I I just can't imagine. I can't imagine. Sorry. I just it's tough. It's really tough. It's tough to talk about these kinds of things. It's just the fact that the fact that this needs to be done. These protests need to be done in the year 2020, and people still don't understand the meaning and what's going on. It just blows my mind. The fact that people are just chanting Blue Lives Matter and all this. Don't get me wrong. I don't think all police officers are bad. I really don't. And if that upsets you, I'm sorry. No one no one is born into this world with hate in their heart. Um, it doesn't matter what your religion is. You don't even really have a religion at that point, I guess, when you're born. But it doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your culture is. No matter what you look like, everyone is born into this world equally. And from then on out, depending on your skin, the fact that your skin color determines how you are treated once you leave that hospital it's just awful. It makes no sense whatsoever. We're all equal, and that's the way it should be. I don't really know, like, I don't really get how you can say it and put it in any other way and not get it. How do you not get it at this point? If you don't get it at this point, if you don't get that fact that we're all equal at this point, I don't know if you're ever going to get it. Like, I trust me, I've given people second, third, fourth chances. I've received second, third, fourth chances in other scenarios in my life. And it just gets to a point where if you don't want to understand something, then you don't want to understand it. And that's the way it is. And you're just, maybe you're not an awful person all around. That just doesn't click in your head. And unfortunately, you're going to be viewed as insensitive. And that's the way it should be. You should be viewed that way. Like I said, all cops are, they're not all bad. There are some good ones. Unfortunately, they're overshadowed. The work that they do is overshadowed by these racist police officers that make their way into the force. And they just, it just tarnishes the badge. That's just the way it is. And going around saying Blue Lives Matter, yeah, cool. Their lives matter, but that's not the message to be sending right now. A cop wasn't murdered. An African American man was. That's why it's Black Lives Matter right now. It's not, that's another thing. You really, some people really have to get that through their heads. Like, I'm seeing all this Blue Lives Matter, cops aren't bad. That's not the message that should be sent right now. So there's that. And I guess one final thing on police officers in general, if, a lot of videos have been coming up where someone's just getting pulled over casually and the police officer, they're the person's African American, even if they aren't. If they're, Armenian, Arab looking, I don't know, white, whatever. A cop should not be pulling someone over and coming up to the car with their gun drawn, or to someone's front door with their gun drawn, unless they're in some serious danger, because that can lead to tragedy. You should not, if you are living in fear as a police officer, constantly, to the point where you pull someone over for speeding or blowing a light or just something casual, and you have to have your gun drawn, you should probably just hang it up and retire, because that's, you signed up to serve and protect. You didn't sign up to be scared all the time. If you wanted to be scared all the time, then I don't know, you just sit in your house all day and peer through the window and see what's happening outside. That's the best way I can put it. If there's no really other way to put it, if you're in fear of your life, you should not be a police officer, because that's what you signed up for. To see things like what's going on and protect people. That's the last thing I have to say about police officers. So, and one part of this, this is a sports channel. I would like to talk about sports, and athletes are human beings too. And there's a couple people I want to talk about. They're on each end of the spectrum. One was from a while ago. I mean, he's still around, obviously, and one popped up yesterday and today. And that's Drew Brees. So Drew Brees came out and decided to basically, in a short way for me to put it, he'll never understand. He said he will never understand kneeling during the national anthem. His grandfathers fought for the country, and it's disrespecting them. The national anthem brings him to tears, but bottom line is he said he'll never understand kneeling for the flag. He can't agree with that. And his teammates, a lot of his African Americans, his teammates, they bashed him. They're upset with him, understandably so. I think my dog wants to get on this conversation, but I don't think she has much to say. So, his teammates weren't happy with him. Other players around the league weren't happy with him. Obviously, there's people that agree with him, and Drew Brees can have his opinion, but it doesn't mean his opinion's right, because, like I said, he's just someone that doesn't get it. Like he's just another person that's just, like I was saying earlier, they just don't get it. They don't get what Colin Kaepernick, the other player I was talking about, the ex-NFL player, should be a current NFL player. They're just never people like Drew Brees, even though he apologized today, they're just never going to understand if they don't understand by now. Like, I hope that makes sense. Like, if they don't understand what people like Colin Kaepernick were kneeling for, then they're never going to understand it because they don't want to at the end of the day by now. Like, I guess, like, if these comments are made right away around the time, because this was like 4 or 5 years ago. So if they're, if these comments came out then, that's a different story. But you've had a long time to process this and what he did. And if you don't get it by now, you're not going to get it, unfortunately. Colin Kaepernick, he should have a job in the NFL. He should have still been a quarterback in the National Football League. From then until now, until he decided that he wanted to retire. He shouldn't be basically retired already. I mean, he's all set in life, but that's just not right. It's not. There's a conversation. Everyone, he's not good enough to be on a team. He's not even that good. He's good enough to be on a team. Let's be real. There's some awful, awful quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and since he was, just blacklisted from the league. And one of them is on the Patriots right now, Brian Hoyer. If you sincerely think, whether you think Brian Hoyer knows the system or not, if you think Brian Hoyer is a better quarterback than Colin Kaepernick, then stop watching football. You have no idea what you are talking about. Bottom line. But I'm going off on a tangent here. We're not talking about really the actual sport right now. Colin Kaepernick kneeled because he was trying to bring recognition to police brutality, to the Black Lives Movement. He was trying to make people see, because the football was they were on a high stage. They were up there. They still are. People watch the NFL. People were watching him. He wasn't kneeling to disrespect the military or veterans or the flag or anything like that. It's just, he even said it himself. He said himself that those weren't his intentions. Veterans have come out and said, like, that's what you should be doing. That's how you should peacefully protest. Like, if the guy himself has come out and said why he's kneeling, and you are still trying to tell him it's for a different reason, what are you doing? What are you doing? It makes no sense. No, you're not kneeling because you want to bring, you want to show people, this is your way of protesting. You want to peacefully, you want to do this, you want to bring attention to what what you care, things you care about and everything like that. No, we're going to tell you why you are protesting. Where does that, at what point in, when that comes out of your mouth, when you think that in your head and then it comes out of your mouth, at one point does that make any sense? Like, you have to, seriously think. That makes no sense. And in regards to the flag, he's not kneeling on a flag. He's not burning the flag. He wasn't doing any of that. The closest flag to him was 300 feet up at the top of the stadium, blowing in the wind. He wasn't anywhere near a flag at any point while he was kneeling. And And people still found a way, and they are still finding ways to bash him for no reason whatsoever. It makes no sense. It's awful what has happened to his NFL career because people are just crazy. People are crazy. Yeah, it just it's just unbelievable that this is where we are at this point in history. Like, it's crazy. It makes no sense whatsoever that we are still at this point in human history where people are being treated like they're beneath another, certain kinds of people. It happens everywhere, and it needs to stop. It makes no sense. Like, do people think? Like, I don't get it. You need to think. You need to seriously think before doing something. And I need to take my own advice on that at certain things, at certain aspects in life, unfortunately. And yeah, I mean, the riots, the protests have been peaceful until, from what I've seen, the police, they don't make it peaceful. It's a lot. There's a lot to be seen out there with some videos. And I know a lot of people, the media. Stop bashing the media. They're there. They're going to be there. If you truly think that the media is against you and against the country, again, you need to figure some things out. For real. Yeah, there are biases. You have your own biases. You just don't happen to be on the news. That's all it is. There's biases to be had out there. Whether that's right or wrong it's not my place to determine. I would say, I don't know, I guess it's wrong, but you can't stop the people from having them. That's like me coming up to you and saying, stop thinking this way. They're there to report. If they weren't there, we'd be in deep trouble. Trust me. If the media was not there, if journalists, reporters, if they weren't there, this country would be in big, big trouble. This world would be in big, big trouble. So you're welcome to your own opinion, but I don't agree with that. When people say, the media is like evil and bad and against us and everything, that's just not true. But yeah. Again, with the protests, going back to the protests, it makes perfect sense. The protests are well deserved. Everyone has the rights to protest, peacefully protest, and that's what I've mostly seen. And then the rioting starts at night, and from what I've seen, it's mostly white people doing it. It's not all white people. Some others jump in and take advantage of what's happening, and that happens everywhere pretty much. Like I said, not everyone is born with evil in their hearts, but at some point circumstances change that person, whether it be the people around them that they grow up with or the system, treating them poorly because of their skin color. It all accumulates, it all adds up, and finally, stuff like rioting, they happen. But at the same time, although I don't condone the rioting, I understand why it's happening. And I'm sorry that this video is reaching 20 minutes. I don't know if you want to watch this whole thing, if you've even made it to this point, but if you have, thank you. I really appreciate it. But I understand the rioting. I understand. And you know why? Because for all these hundreds of years, these African Americans, these black people have been treated so poorly, and then finally the equal rights movement happens when it was long overdue, and they're still treated below others. And like going back to Colin Kaepernick, he wasn't the only one that was kneeling. He may have, brought the most attention to it and maybe started it up, on a larger scale. But other people were doing it too. Whether they were famous, whether they were athletes, they were doing it too. And you know what happened? Nothing. That's why we're still here. That's why we're still at this point. Nothing happened as a result. Nothing positive enough happened after all of that. After all that commotion, blowing it up completely, out of proportion, everything, it took away from the real message. So nothing got done. So now that you didn't listen to one end of the spectrum, people didn't listen to one end of the spectrum of peacefully protesting, here we are. There's riots. The other end of the spectrum, violence. That's what's going to happen. So now it's up to us to find the middle ground. But no one's really presented that yet. I guess the peaceful protesting is the closest that we've gotten to it. But it took that long for the police officer that killed George Floyd to be upgraded. First of all, be charged with third-degree murder, and then get upgraded. It got upgraded to second-degree murder. It took way too long for that to happen. And who knows? Even if maybe if all this rioting and stuff doesn't happen, who knows how much longer it takes if it like happens at all, that like they all get arrested, that those police officers got arrested. And that's the main issue here. Something needs to be done. So yeah, they tried peaceful protesting, they tried peacefully kneeling, and that didn't work for everyone. So now we're at the other end. And that's not working for everyone. So we got to figure something out. People have got to figure out what it's going to take. Yeah. And I'm sick of seeing the all lives matter thing. Yeah, at the end of the day, they do. But again, that's not the message we're trying to send. All lives will matter when Black lives matter. I've seen that, and I love that message. Because it's true. It's true. Sorry, just need a drink of water. And I've seen a lot of videos coming out. Not video, well, I guess videos, but also like screenshots and pictures of past conversations and group chats and stuff like that. People are getting called out for things they did years ago or even recently, and you know what? They should. If you say things that shouldn't be said, and you get called out for it, and you get disciplined, or people they're not happy with you because of it, you can't really blame anyone but yourself for that. At the same time, like I said earlier in the video, people deserve, second chances and everything like that. If it's one time, that doesn't define a person. If they're truly sorry, then they're truly sorry. doing one bad thing, unless, like, there's plenty of examples I can come up with where things, certain actions are pretty much unforgivable. But if someone makes a mistake, that doesn't mean that's who they are. Um, the cop that murdered George Floyd, that's a perfect example. That's unforgivable. That's who he is now. That's it. But someone that the, I think the number one thing for everyone here is forgiveness. That recognition and forgiveness and awareness, it all comes together, and it's something that needs to be focused upon. Um, yeah, and unfortunately, um, you know, I've seen people, you know, showing everyone on social media screenshots of what people have said in the past, and I get it. What they said was wrong, and they, it needs to be recognized, and at the same time, they can be forgiven. It doesn't define the person, like I said. But what really gets to me is there's some people out there that are doing the calling out when they need to be called out themselves. If you are constantly posting on social media saying, Snapchat story and Instagram stories, saying racial slurs, and people have to scroll down on your Facebook, your Twitter, not even like 3 posts, and they can find you saying the same racial slurs, but at the same time, you're the one calling people out and showing people past conversations and saying that they're wrong and they should be canceled and everything like that. You don't have a leg to stand on. You don't have the right. Because, again, like I said, if I can scroll down and open up your stories and you're just saying things like even worse than what the people you're calling out have said, you don't have a dog in the fight. You don't have a leg to stand on. You have a dog in the fight. Whatever saying you want to say, you don't have the right. It doesn't make any sense why I'm seeing stuff like that. So really think about what you have to say before you say it. Please. And if people really want to unfollow me, I'm gonna be posting this around, obviously, like I do with all my other videos. People want to unfollow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, unfriend me, Snapchat. It is what it is. It's not the first time people have done that to me. It won't be the last time. If you want to unsubscribe not follow my YouTube channel anymore, I'm sure it won't be the first time. I'm sure it won't be the last time. It's not like my channel's not that big, so it is what it is. So yeah, rest in peace to George Floyd. Rest in peace to everyone, every African American that has been taken too early as a result of racism. And it's a shame that this is where we still are in the year 2020. Thank you guys for the support. Next video, I'll be back to sports with my next video. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you everyone that has supported the channel so far. I really do appreciate it. This is the end of this video. So I don't want to take you guys too much over a half hour. So thank you, and I'll see you next time.